everybody, this is the second video in my Python GCSE learning tutorial. In this video I'm going to be covering a few, once again, very important parts of Python, but that are slightly more complex than last episode. If you haven't already watched that, I would highly recommend watching the previous episode. It will be useful for understanding this because I use some of the features from that in this one. So, like usual, you need to start off by clicking New File, which will open up this new file. And something I forgot to mention last episode is to show line numbers, you click Options and then Show Line Numbers. Yeah, and that will just show the line numbers. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a very important piece of code, and this is the if statement. Now, the if statement allows you to make a decision, effectively. So what we can do, a good example of this, which you will see in your exams, is you have an input statement like enter your name, which then gets, saves that. Which then gets set to something like name in this case. And what you'll see quite often is you'll get something like this. You'll say if name is equal to reduc. So what's going on here is we're taking this name from over here and checking if what's inside of it is equal to this. But the difference between this and this is that if it's in quotes, Python goes, that's text, that's writing. But if it's not, and it's just blank like this, it'll be looking for something like this. So it'll be saying, is there something called a reduc? But obviously there isn't. So we want to put this in quotes so it knows it's text. So the next thing you want to do is add a colon here. And this tells Python, like, this is the end of the if bit. So now here's an important part of Python you'll want to know for the rest of your coding. It's incredibly important, and lots of errors I've seen have been caused by this, people just not really understanding. So when I click enter here to make a new line, you'll notice I'm actually 4 spaces ahead. This is called an indentation, and you can get one by pressing, I either enter after an indented block like this if, or you can simply press the tab key on your keyboard, and you see it's just created that after I click tab. And so what this does is this tells Python anything that's 4 spaces away is within this if. Anything after this colon with 4 spaces before it is within this if. So now, within this if, I can say print hello. So what should happen here is that it will output hello, but there's an error in this code, as you can see. Invalid syntax. Maybe you meant equals equals or colon equals instead of equals. See, this is actually quite a useful error message, but only if you understand what it means. The problem is this equals. See, this equals and this equals are not the same, even if I've written them wrong. For this one, it takes what you get out of this input statement and puts it in name. But this one, we want to check if name is this. We don't want to set name to that. So we use a double equals to signify this is just a comparison, not defining it. This is again a common problem I see. You've got to remember this is a double equals, not a single one in an if statement. And if you get an error that you don't really understand, always double check this sort of thing. So now the code should run, and I can type in the correct name, and it says hello. But what if we wanted to make it that if I typed in the wrong name, it would print something else? And that's where the else statement comes in. This fairly self-explanatory. It just says, it's attached to this if effectively. It says if this condition does not get passed, then just do this. But if it does get passed, this code will never run. So then I can just add a separate print statement into here, like goodbye. So now what will happen, if I type in Rayduck, it will print hello. But if I type in anything else, it will type goodbye. And once again, this is the indentation here. You can see you got the same with the else. Python also knows where the code ends by when the indentation stops. So I can add an extra block here that's not got these 4 spaces, and then just print something else like go away, for instance. And so now what will happen here is you can say, even if I type in my correct name, it will tell me both this, and then once it's finished with this bit, it will run this, because this doesn't have the indentation, it's outside. So effectively, this code, now it's stopped being indentated, doesn't care what's going on here. It will just finish this bit and then run this. But there's another problem you may have noticed. If I wanted another if, for instance, if I wanted 2 ifs inside of each other for something, let's say I've got a second variable called day, which I also get from the user, that is just enter the day, and what I want to do is if I type in the correct name and the day is Tuesday, it should print something extra. And so how I would do that is inside of this if, I would have another if, remembering this indentation. And so this Python could just see there's an if, there's inside of another if. So this is just like any other code you would put in this if, right? It will just get to this and then try to run that. So if day is Tuesday, I can just add another print in here that says it is a rainy day. And so what this will mean is if I type in my correct name and then type in the correct day, it will print out both. But if I type in this day, this name, but the wrong day, it will only print out this, because it gets this and is like, I cannot run any of this code past these extra 4 spaces because the day is not Tuesday. And so this is different to this because if I type in the correct name and the correct day, it looks the same. But if I type in the wrong name but the correct day, it will go through. And that's because this condition does not rely on this one. So what we had before was it will only run this if this if has already been run. And each of these two cases with just two ifs next to each other can be used in different ways. Let's just add one extra thing. If your name isn't Rayduck, only then ask it if the day is Tuesday, or vice versa. So what we have here is an elif. So this elif will only try this condition if this if fails. So we can see this in action here. If I say if name is Rayduck, it doesn't actually matter what the day is. It will only run this piece of code, and then this elif means it's attached to this if. So this whole thing is just one thing. And this condition being complete means it's just like, yep, done what I need to do, and then just skip straight here. Right, no need to do any of this, because this elif relies on this if having failed. So it's basically the same as if I said else if, but just simpler and easier. And you can also see if I put in the wrong name but the right day, it's like, this is wrong, but this is right, so I'm going to do that. Yep, so that's basically all I have to say for today. Remember to like the video if you found it useful. Subscribe to the channel if you want to get updated when the next video comes out. This was the second video in the series. I've got a link to the playlist up on screen now. And this playlist is going to have all of the videos of the series in. Like I said in the previous video, about 10 or 12 of them. I just want to thoroughly explain everything there is to know about Python for GCSE. So thanks for watching and goodbye.